Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John's reports for the 22nd of March. And, well, there's that pivot of the magenta. Didn't get one of those severe pivots like we had back over here with a similar kind of configuration, which would have signaled potentially a short situation. We do get a rejection of green to cyan, so we should expect some weakness along with steel dipping below cyan at that point at 95 versus the 112. So I'd be looking for a little bit of softness within that and see if that magenta erodes further. If it stays above, certainly that's enough to build, but I would expect that we might see a little bit of back and forth weakness. Counter to that is the falling 100% usually pulls price up to that particular point. The question would be whether it catches up to it, and that typically would be right around this level right up here at the 45.66 range. So that would be quite a move if it were able to get up that one. So we'll be watching that, but if this fades a little bit more, it's going to portend a little bit of softness. And I think we're going to see it intraday, so we'll know. See the NASDAQ even less. While they're at extreme points, as long as that magenta stays above there, this could certainly ride higher. The fact that it's happening just above the 38 and getting closer to the 50%, that could be significant resistance going forward into it. So we'll see if that's able to maintain it. Euro, of course, that's short situation there. Hasn't dipped below from a magenta. It's just showing soft weakness at this particular point. So if that accelerates, it'll be clear because the magenta will dip below that 25. It's pretty close to it as it sits right there. Gold, just hovering right around this key spot. Of course, we just had news that U.S. has levied sanctions against China. Interesting after everything was supposedly so good after the call about Ukraine, and they just announced it. Of course, it was about the labor practices, but probably not the time you want to be agitating others, given the tenseness of the world situation. But oil continuing to skyrocket, not doing anything to abate that. There's just no interest in dealing with that at all, and there you go. We talked about interest rates continuing to rise, and we expected this break to continue to even move lower. So it's just a lot of constraints overhead that really are going to start to have an effect. And of course, talking about drought situations in Midwest affecting winter harvest and things like that. So with all of the other supply constrictions, you have the bans on fertilizers from Russia. There's going to be some interesting things going on by the time summer comes, and depending on when the market decides that that's relevant, it could happen much sooner as far as relatively seeing that situation. A little weakness here in Bitcoin from a daily standpoint at least, and from its intraday also a little soft, but that pivot below 25, never a great thing. ETH, it's nice and clean on the short setup that developed after we had some bouncing back and forth. It's still very clean, 50K. Slight promotion to the upside, but again, there you go with the magenta right at the white level. So a little breakdown of there, and definitely could be seeing a much deeper decline there. So it's worth paying attention to. And from a 5K standpoint, the immediate reaction to that breaking news on that China situation, of course, after having moved up during the day, nothing major required as far as a fill back. We had a positive extreme that took place here that was already filled. And then the most recent one, which was right here, has been filled in this little dip setup there. So that's the current state of things. Continues to remain in flux. I think that it's one of those where you've got to be flexible, as we've talked about. The pain side from the option situation was to the plus side, and now that that's taken care of, I think the market's going to have to find some direction as to whether or not it can support continuing to move forward, and whether or not the continued escalation in inflationary prices are going to continue to erode public confidence and therefore GDP readings in that. So it's going to start getting interesting. Even though it already has been throughout most of the year. So it's just going to add to near-term volatility. As always, though, I will continue to put up details on the Skype chat. Trade well. We'll talk to you later.